Hey, and welcome to Matt and Jess TV. I am Matt
And
Roast.
I'm Jessica Bun Bun.
We are here with our reaction and review for The Testament Season 1, Episode 7. I think this episode's really, really effective for a couple of different reasons. I mean, for starters, we did get a lot of information. I think we understand a lot more about
Yeah.
what Daisy has gone through, but I
Mhm.
feel like we still don't have a lot of answers as to how a lot of this is going to play out, where we have our little team of underdogs, but they're still underdogs. They don't really have any recourse to get out of here at all.
Yeah, I was really glad to get more on Daisy. It was great to see Rita and
Mhm.
that she is still with Mayday and working with June and trying to get as much information as she can to be able to take down Gilead and to actually have answers finally on how did Daisy become part of this at all? Because I think there was a lot of us out there that felt that June never would have sent her in, whether or not this was, her kid, Holly or Nicole, or somebody else's kid from Gilead, that they wouldn't have gone through all the trouble to get out all the kids to then send back anybody's kid. So to have Daisy say, listen, they killed my adoptive parents, they've killed my biological
Mhm.
parents. I'm in to take down Gilead now. All my parents are gone.
Yeah, I really appreciate it for our ongoing mystery on what is Daisy's real lineage here. Okay,
Yeah,
apparently her biological parents are gone, which
apparently.
yeah, we can
That's what,
choose.
yeah, that's what she's told.
Yeah,
Do you guys believe that she's being told the truth? Because I'm skeptical.
I'm skeptical. I'm leaning in the direction of probably, but I think to me it's one of those situations where even if her biological parents are gone, like it
Mhm.
still might be really important to know who they are, because there is still
Yes.
that question of why does June care as much as June did? Like that's still
Mhm.
something that's lingering here. And oh, by the way, that's not the only question lingering still when it comes to June and Daisy and Lydia and like everything that is going
Yep.
on here. But before we get further into this review, be sure to hit that subscribe button, because we are going to be here throughout the Testaments, breaking everything down, having fun discussions
Mhm.
with you guys. We love reading your thoughts, your theories in the comments every single week.
And for more Testaments videos and
Mhm.
discussion, be sure to join our memberships here on YouTube. Right now, we have a video up there talking all about whether or not we're going to see Nick again,
Mhm.
either this season or throughout the show. Yes, we know that he was up in the plane and
Yeah.
but that doesn't necessarily mean that we won't end up seeing him. And we have a bunch of theories on how or why we might end up seeing him. And we have more Testaments videos to come for our members. So be sure to join.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for your support
Thank you.
there. All right. Here's the big question now, I think, when it comes to Daisy and Agnes. So,
Mm-hmm.
we know through this whole flashback sequence that Daisy is aware that June has an extra reason to be taking on Gilead at this
Yep.
point, that she has her own child somewhere there. Does she know that it's Agnes? Like, has that part of the connection been put together yet?
Yeah, I'm really curious about that. They've obviously left it as a mystery
Mhm.
for us to not know whether or not Rita told her or she has just figured it out on her own. Okay, show of hands. Who out there thinks that Daisy knows that Agnes is June's daughter?
Oh, all
Oh,
right, all
okay,
right.
let's hear it, Matt.
Okay, here we go. I think that she has figured it out over time. Where, yeah, it's possible someone told her, but where I'm sort of leaning with it is that the show is really just chewing on the scenery and enjoying this idea of what Lydia knows or what Lydia doesn't know. So I think
Mm-hmm.
they're going to try to keep that ambiguity for as long as humanly possible. We know that she's keeping that book, but like, what is she doing with Mayday? All of that
Right.
is still unclear. But if Daisy has not been told anything, she's very smart. And I think she also has gone through a lot at this point. Like, she knows that she's going back to Gilead with this very particular reason. She knows about June's obvious emotional investment in all of this. And she
Mm-hmm.
magically ends up being paired with Agnes, where I'm just sort of sitting back, and especially the longer that time is going on here, she's probably wondering, why Agnes? Like, why am I with this person? What makes her so significant? Where even if she's not 100% certain on all of it yet. I feel like she knows that something is up, that something is special about her. And I think that's going to be one of the things the show is really able to pick up and explore down the road because Daisy, she needs allies, right? Like she
Mhm.
needs people to eventually open up with and be on her side. Like that's something, if she can ever get Agnes in the headspace where she wants to talk about it more, she can use to try to pull her in a little bit.
Yeah, I feel like some of the information that Agnes has already kind of given when she was just like, "Oh, we don't talk about that. It's
Mm,
rude." It felt like Daisy was already prodding with information that she had either already knew, maybe from Rita. Like we didn't see every conversation she had with Rita, but maybe she got enough
mhm.
information that when she got out there, she was able to kind of piece it together to be like, okay, her daughter would be about this old. I'm going to be put in the school with these kids. What am I kind of, out here looking for? What would this person be like?
Mhm.
What kind of, adventurous spirit would this person have? Because June has this.
Yeah, I think she's in the spot now where she's trying to figure out some things on the fly when it comes to how to maybe get Agnes to open up more. And I think there's a
Mhm.
really interesting contrast between we have her whole meeting with Commander Weston in this episode where she's basically reading off a script that she practiced with Rita, that she was prepared for this moment, but she's still unbelievably young. She's not that experienced. She's not like some super massive undercover specialist here. Like she
Yeah.
doesn't know how to sort of read and follow all the right social cues with Agnes yet. It's sort of like this scene where she's seeing all of Agnes's little collectibles that she's found along the way. Like she doesn't know the right buttons to push yet. Like this is going to be a little bit of an ongoing process.
That was very, very cute, by the way,
Mhm.
with Agnes and all these little things that she's found. And she doesn't know what every single thing is. It was very Little Mermaid, reminding me a little bit of Silo as well, where
Yeah.
they have like the duck Pez dispenser and they're
Mhm.
like, we don't know what this is or what this does. It was very, very sweet.
It was really, really sweet and also really, really informative, I think, for Daisy, because even if Daisy kind of messed this up to some extent, she didn't ruin it entirely.
There was a couple things in that pile that Agnes had that I was really surprised that she was still holding on to because I saw like two pens
Mhm.
in that group of stuff that she has. And we already know from The Handmaid's Tale that she has written her names and she knows that she's not allowed to write, she's
Mhm.
not allowed to read, but she's going to hold on to a pen. I don't even know what would happen if Paula found that out.
Oh, she would lose it. She would go to like another gear beyond what we saw in this episode. And I think it's the show sort of playing around with the conscious versus the subconscious versus the things that Agnes is just trying to bury deep down. Like those
Yeah.
pins, they are sort of a interesting physical representation of, all right, Agnes does remember these things. Agnes is
Mhm.
aware of a lot of stuff. She's just having to bury it. Like those items are literally buried. And now that Daisy has seen some of this and we've seen Agnes on her own, like, look at these a little bit more. We know that that rebellious spirit is there. And I think Daisy's now in this spot. She has to figure out how to regroup, but she has enough awareness to sort of be like, okay, there is a chance that I can break through here a little bit more.
Okay, let's talk about Garth. Does anyone feel that Garth is actually interested in Agnes? Raise your hand.
I'm like mildly there. This is like a
Y-
half whole hand base.
Yeah, I'm just not sure. Like, it feels like he could be, but he knows that he is part of a bigger mission, so he's not going to be.
Yeah, it feels like there is this part of his brain that's like, okay, Garth, you're interested in her. It's okay. You can be interested in her. And then the rest of his brain is being like, no, 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 no. Don't do it. Don't do it. Leave. Abandon mission. And he's constantly like going back and forth. But I think Garth knows that he is undercover. He does have a much larger mission that is at play here. But I mean, he's also still a particularly young person. I
Yep.
think that if he is interested in her, that part of him is going to win out over time just because they are emotional people. This show loves mess. What's messier than the idea of the two of them getting together while Garth is supposed to marry Becca?
Yeah, and I mean, trying to maybe even rescue her or get her out of there. But there was something very teenagery about the way that Agnes took that smoke, that
Yes.
dirty smoke off the ground to put on her lips. I was just like, man, teenagers are so weird, and they
Yes.
definitely would do something strange like that.
It was probably the most believable thing, unfortunately, that we saw in this episode.
It was so believable. I totally bought into that, even though I was just like, ew, ick, 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 put
Yeah.
that dirty smoke down.
Yeah.
It was so believable. It was so well done.
That scene was just excellent because you have Agnes at first just like trying to get Garth to validate her. Do I have a personality? Like, am I something? And I think the way in which he said it, like that to me was the clue that's like, all right, there is this sort of repressed version of you
Yeah.
that has a little bit of interest. You want her to feel special. You could have answered this question in a different way that
Mhm.
was still friendly enough while also being matter of fact. This
Right.
felt very Romeo and Juliet-ish to me, except, very different situation, very different circumstances. But we do have a lot of family members involved who do not want a relationship like this to work.
Okay, are we going to see Becca and Garth together then? Because, man, she does not want to marry that first commander. That guy is a creep.
Yeah.
And it felt very much like her interest was much higher on Garth because it felt almost like, I don't know if she just kind of got the vibe from him that they would be able to kind of have a relationship where at least bad things weren't going to be happening to her,
Mm,
but that she might be able to have a little more freedom with him.
I think this is where it so much is going to come down to, unfortunately, Becca's parents, including her awful, awful father,
Right.
because in sort of listening to these incredibly uncomfortable interviews, like the takeaway from Garth was that he was very honest. He spoke in
Yep.
blunt terms about here's where I am. No, I don't have a lot of money. I don't have a lot of ways to support your daughter yet, but here are the things that I'm capable of. Here are the things that I'm thinking about. And I do think for Becca, that probably does give her, like, I don't want to say relief, but gives her a slight feeling of, okay, if I'm with this guy, I think he's going to be upfront and level with me. And I mean, we know a lot of the reason why, just like she
Yeah.
doesn't want to be married to him. I don't think he wants to be married to her because he knows that this is not really what he's fighting for.
Well, I think she also gets the feeling she's new at this, he's
Mhm.
new at this. And because of that, there's just maybe there's no level playing ground in Gilead, but there's a little more leeway to grow with somebody than to just go and marry some old guy.
Yeah, and so I think this is where the question then becomes, all right, does Becca's family want her to be nearby? Like, does that
Yeah.
matter to them? Like, there are a lot of stipulations where there are benefits to it being Garth, but then there is the unfortunate reality where these people all want power and to influence. And, unfortunately, Maddox may have that in a way that Garth does not, but how much are they even going to listen to Becca at all? Because, I mean, if she's able to talk, she would make her preference, I don't know, at least a little bit clear.
Well, it looks like Agnes is not getting her preference because
No.
she is ending up with Weston, even though she definitely tried to sabotage it a little bit. And while he took it pretty badly, she made some comment about, him having to get married again. He was just like, yeah, I lost my wife while she was giving birth to my child, and I lost my child as well. Worst day of my life. So thanks for bringing it up. I'm absolutely going to take you, and it's going to be a bad time.
This is something that, yeah, we all have to legitimately worry about, but I think it's
Yes.
also, and this is sort of the indirect way that all of this could push Agnes further to, joining the big cause at the heart of all of this, is that her scene with her looking through those artifacts again, it's weird to even call them artifacts at the end, like, it's prompted by this idea that, okay, you didn't really push Weston away, even though you tried, even though you did like your small act of sabotage. So that means to me, all right, Agnes, you're waking up a little bit more.
Mhm.
You're going to try to do more and more things, have
Right.
more and more conversations that is outside the line, which then brings you potentially to Daisy. And then eventually the conversations that Daisy and Becca had, they may bring the two of them over to Agnes. Where I'm going here is that we have sort of our four musketeers, if you will, of Garth, Daisy, Becca, and Agnes, if they could just get in a room, I don't know how this happens, and talk to each other, like they could actually figure something out now.
I would like to think so, but Agnes is really the wild card in this
Mhm.
because she's just so down the hole with Gilead at this point that I
Mhm.
don't know if she can be broken at this point. Even when we saw her back in The Handmaid's Tale,
Yeah.
she was already so far gone that I don't know what it's going to take to get her out of this. Is it just going to be Garth saying, hey, let's give it a try if you come with me? It could be as easy as that. She's
Mhm.
a teenager.
Yeah, I think the biggest way to get through to her is by playing to her emotions, and that's sort of the
Love.
yeah, like that's sort of the difficult thing about all of this. Where if you're Garth, like the reality is, you do need more allies, and the more people you have on the inside, the better off you are. So like there is this sort of business approach with Garth where he can look at Agnes and be like, all right. I know that she's clearly into me. Can I use this to sort of funnel information or maybe even get her to be a larger part of Mayday? But then, like, on the human level, he might be like, man, am I being mean? Am I just like playing her emotions for the sake of my results? Does this make me a bad person?
Yes, it does. You don't play with people's feelings to get,
Yes.
this bigger payday. You can find another way about it.
Yeah, you can. That's why it's so easy to get your brain sort of wrapped up in these riddles because it's like we want Mayday to succeed, but what's the cost in order to do that?
Okay, let's talk about what happened with all the Pearl Girls, the
Mhm.
radio, Weston, learning about his past, where we had seen Daisy talking to Rita about it. She's got like this folder on him. He used to be, into all these other things that were
Yeah.
not great. Now all of a sudden he's the commander who's leading the eyes. That's pretty powerful, pretty dangerous guys. So her going up against him where he's asking all these questions to try to find out about the radio without asking anything about the radio, and then ending up taking one of the other Pearl Girls. We talk about what's the cost,
Yeah.
right? What's the cost? What is going to happen to her? Is that person just dead now? The answer's probably yes.
Yeah, they're dead or they're doing some place that's even worse than death. And like that's gonna be a really hard thing for Daisy to sit with. Like that's why she's praying at the end of this episode. Like, regardless of whatever she actually feels about prayer, like she recognizes, I think, I'm trying to do this thing for a good reason, but man,
Mhm.
are people getting caught up in this. And I just wonder now, like, she had these moments with Rita. She was trained for this, but did she really understand then, like, the human cost of what she was going through? But she's also in a spot now where she's so far in. And she, I mean, yeah, sure, she could stand up and be like, it was me. I did it. Take me away. But if you do that, like, yeah, you're basically losing your own life. And she knows
Yes.
that.
Yeah, she knows what happens to anyone from Mayday. It is the end of you. So she can't say anything, and now she's responsible for this innocent person being Mayday and now just being erased.
The question now with Daisy moving forward is that, all right, she's now seen multiple people be taken away to some extent who are not necessarily her best friends, but are kind of in her greater orbit as a result of this Mayday operation. And we learned a little bit about what's going on
Mhm.
in Boston, sort of the conflicts between them and the commanders in this episode as well. So we have all of these elements that are ramping up where if you're Daisy now, are you going to start thinking, all right, I just need this to be over sooner rather than later. Like, I do like fighting for this cause, but this is taking such a toll on my mental health. Is she going to start rushing things? Like, this is my concern where she's going to be so desperate to try to get people on her side that she's going to slip up because she's not going to be careful anymore.
Okay, my concern is that she's going to get her time of the month because when she was talking to Rita, sorry to be talking about the lady things, but
Mhm.
we're going to be talking
Yeah,
about
yeah.
them, that Rita asked her if that's happened. And she was like, no, in my group, there's only been one person. Like, it's not a thing that's been happening. Okay, well, then we'll send you in. That was brought up for a very specific reason, I feel. They're not
Mhm.
going to bring that up for nothing. So now I'm like, oh no.
I know, I know.
Oh no, is this going to end up happening to her there? And she's going to end up turning into a green where they're going to end up like marrying her off.
That's sort of this
It's
weird.
so scary. Like
It's
the fact that they brought that up, I was like, this is not good. Nothing good is coming out of
No,
this.
and it's also this really scary race against time then, because let's say
Yes.
that does happen, and then she sort of is up against, all right, how long do I have before I'm paired off with anyone? Like, how
Yeah.
often do they do these whole ball ceremony slash interviews? You've already done this round. If this happens right away with Daisy, are you just going to try to like rope her into this part of the process too?
Yeah, I don't know if it happens fast enough that they can get her in there like they have with some of the other girls, or if it maybe is a little bit too late, so they'll make her a plum for a while with the little green brooch or whatever
Mhm.
until the next round and there's enough girls to be able to have another round.
I think the other like biggest thing I'm really left off with in this particular episode is that yeah, we know that there are the Ritas and the Junes out there who are,
Yes.
fighting the good fight and helping. It was great to see Rita here, but I'm just
Yes.
sort of like, all right, within Gilead itself, we have Garth, and Garth is communicating with some people. It's still a little bit isolated where a lot of the more direct orders are kind of coming from. So I'm kind of worried now that, all right, let's say Daisy messes something up because she gets a little bit too desperate, or Garth gets caught in his feelings. Are they all just going to be kind of left on their own devices and then they're left to fend for themselves? Like, is that
Yeah.
then going to be the way that June is going to be able to come back in, where she hears about a major problem and it's like, okay, I can't leave these people behind for whatever reason, no matter the relationship with Daisy. Like, it feels like they're going to have to find another reason to get June back, whether it's this season or down the road,
Well,
right?
she's got to come back this season. I mean, I know Garth was all like, "Who's June?" And I was just like, "Oh, please, who's June?" She's only like the most famous handmaid that everybody in Gilead is already like, "Oh, and Agnes's lineage." I'm just like, "Oh, stop it. You can just say June. We all know who she is, and so do you, Garth."
That is one of the things that just drives me the most crazy about this show is it's just like, how famous is June? Why do people not talk about her? Is it just fear? Is this just like suppression? What's happening?
And she's so famous or infamous that she has to be in hiding and all this, but like people like Garth don't know who she is. But he's working for Mayday.
Mhm.
There's something so strange about it. Like, is Mayday that big?
Yeah.
Is June not that famous? Then why is she in hiding? Some of these blocks are not stacking up.
No, yeah, I'm guessing it's maybe intentional, but at the same time, I don't know because we've talked about this. The show feels big and small at the same time, where it's
Yes.
just like, presumably this is a big world, but then characters don't know each other. We're kind of dealing with this very, very small place. It's like some things I'm guessing are intentionally unclear, and that's kind of segues me into the other question I have coming out of all this, which is we spent all this time with Aunt Lydia, and I mean, it was a great episode.
Yes.
We didn't really have that much of a continuation at all on any of it in this episode.
No, we did not.
So I am just sort of like, okay, is that just putting seeds that you're going to pay off a little bit later on? But to me, I would have liked just something like some sort of shred of, all right, now we know why Vidala may be willing to listen to Judd. Maybe she's going to have some sort of conversation. I would have liked at least like a tease, if nothing else, about where things are going, because otherwise you could have just put that Lydia episode anywhere.
Absolutely. I mean, it really was its standalone episode to get to what the meat of it is, which is that she is recording all the commander's crimes.
Yeah, and like that's where I really want to be going with this. But
Mhm.
that is where we are coming out of the Testament season 1, episode 7. But let's hear from you guys. What
Mhm.
questions do you still have about Daisy? Where do you think things are going? Let us know, and be sure to join our memberships. It's a great way to help support us. As Jess
Mhm.
said, we have a video there talking all about Nick and his possible ties to everything.
Yep.
Thank you so much, and we'll see you here next time.